Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and today I'm going to be reading your oracle cards. Yeah, this one's a little different. So this is a collective reading, and I was really trying to figure out what is going to be the theme or opening impression of this thing. Usually I go by zodiac signs, but this being a collective reading, I wanted to put some intent. And really, I have to be honest, the last few days, the energy has been so gunky in my world, but also the greater world. Partially because we have a little bit of a cold going through the house. But also just collectively, and I'm talking about the news cycles. I know it's not been good for a long time, right? And every day it's just so many things, but there's just been some particular imagery that has been in the news here in the U.S. these last days. And particularly, I don't want to get too into it, but particularly an image of a young woman on a bus. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And I cannot get this image out of my head. I look at my daughter. I look at the young people around me. I look at the beautiful women and mothers and grandmothers and aunties and all these women of all ages, and they've been so many things in their life, and they will be so many things, and then we have these moments, and there's so many of them. It seems like there's been so many of them. Just so many that it's hard to look at even one thing because there's so much happening. And now I'll be clear here. I have no political affiliation. I have no social affiliation. This is not about any kind of position here. This is purely about we are watching people suffer in real time, all over the place. Have people suffered before? Yes. Since humanity was a thing, people have been suffering. Will they suffer in the future? Yes, absolutely. I don't like that, but they will. So that is to say, now is not special. And yet it is, because it is now, right? And in these times, we have such an availability to so much media, content, imagery, videos, real, fake, who knows? It all affects you. I don't care if it's real or fake. Most of the news could be fake. I don't know. Because I never experienced it. I'm reading it. I don't know if this is, I don't know. But I choose to even engage it, and it affects me. Now, you are also talking to a person who I don't believe in anything being real or true, because it's varying degrees. Yeah, I know. I'm like one of those magical thinking type of people, right? Superstitious, maybe, probably, totally crazy. Who knows, right? But what I know from all of this, and it seems to be at a fever pitch, and there are a lot of reasons, celestial, human, elemental, a lot of reasons that we're in this alignment right now. A lot of reasons why it feels very sore. It feels very raw. I would say. And we're also collectively burnt out. That's the thing too. It's like you didn't get a good night's sleep, and then on top of that, all of the stuff that we're trying to process through and bear witness to, but not letting it sink the ship, because we still have our own lives. So we're stuck in this weird, gunky place. I don't know what to do about it. But I want to do a reading about not what we should do. I don't want it to be about what we should do, because I don't know. That's different for each of us. And I would say generally what we need to do is all do self-work. Straight up. I'm a deep believer in the way to change the world is through self-work. Because every thought you have, every moment of healing, processing, untangling of blockages, it impacts the collective. It impacts consensus reality. It reorganizes reality. So I just kind of want to see, like, what does the universe want to tell us? That's really, what does the universe want to tell us? What does spirit want to tell us? What is, whatever it is, God, goddess, daemon, whatever it is, chance. Okay, let's see. We're going to go ahead. Discrimination. Okay, so when we see this card, it can definitely have a really heavy energy, right? We know there's a lot of kinds of discrimination that are unfair, unfounded, shouldn't be happening. It does. But on the other side of discrimination is to be discerning, right? So you cannot, you probably could, but maybe it might be a little dangerous to walk through life without looking at situations and kind of looking at the variables, weighing it out, and making a decision based on your discernment, okay? So that can be kind of about discrimination, to be discriminatory against something that is not going to add to your life, okay? Authority. Originality. My stomach is growling. I'm sorry. I hope you can't hear that. The microphone is right next to my stomach. Achievement. Okay, so I do feel that we can kind of, I want to put this in 3 different sections here. So we have the discrimination. Okay, I'm going to pull some more cards to kind of help us look at what does that actually mean. What context is discrimination coming up? Now, we also have authority. Okay, so these might be a little closer together. Now, we also have originality and achievement. I'm guessing, I need more clarity, but I am guessing that this is going to kind of be the key, the doorway out, the thing that, is going to help us move through any difficulties. So I want to look at the discrimination part. We're going to look at extremism. Okay, well then this is something that's not, I was hoping it was going to be more about discernment and impulsiveness. Okay, so big sigh here. We're seeing this all around us. I don't know if you're seeing it in your physical life. I personally live very rural, and I don't see a lot of people talking about this kind of stuff. I don't know if it's because they don't talk about it in front of me, or I don't know. I live in a very blue collar work farm, take care of the kids, the grandkids, community type of stuff. I'm not saying it's an ideal. It's just people don't I don't know. Up here in the north, it's a lot of Scandinavian, Swedish descent, German, native, and there seems to be kind of a culture of like not saying more than needs to be said. And I guess that's it. Like, the old, we don't talk about politics or finances or whatever at the table, religion. So I don't see a lot of it, but I see it online. I see it on the news, Nobody in my personal life, is super, like, I don't know if I seem like the type of person that would have people in my life, but I don't. Because we're all just kind of like othered, on the fringe of society type of people. But you do see this stuff, right? You see this stuff happening. I think it's in our zeitgeist heavily, especially if you are in America, right? I can't speak for what it's like in other places, but I know in a lot of places here in America, this is something that has for now years been tearing people apart, families, friendships, whatever. And I think a lot of us are really very tired of people living in these very like extreme black and white thinking, or aligning themselves with things that just, like towing the party line type of deal. Like you are fully devoted to something blindly, and it doesn't make sense. This energy is heavy, it's chaotic, and it does. I feel there's a lot of fear in this zone. Now, we have the authority. I want to look at what is the authority. Is this a role that you are playing? Is this a role of somebody in your life and that they are aligned with this chaotic energy? Or maybe they are working against it within, I don't know, like a workplace or home life or what. So we have charity. And we have adaptability. Okay. So to me, it does. It means very much that to combat this kind of thinking and energy, that there is always room for service. Okay. Being part of the community, showing up for people in your life, your family, your friends, people at work. Maybe you volunteer. Instead of division among people, we are looking at service, right? Now, I've talked about, in a lot of my readings, I have at times really been involved in 12th step in like these kind of recovery communities. And I don't leave them because I've like relapsed, but mostly just because I get burnt on people. I'm a very introverted person. I'm a very solitary person. If you put me in, give me like 2 rooms and a kitchen and, like a bunch of paper to write and paint and collect flowers and, cook cool stuff. Like I would be super straight by myself forever. Now, I do love my husband. Shout out to Paul over at Dove and Serpentero. He's amazing. He's also the type of person that would be totally fine in that type of situation. So that's why we get along, because we're both, So anyways, I go in and out of like doing 12 stuff when I know I need it. Like I'm having some deep shadow work I'm working through, or processing stuff in therapy, or I don't know. I feel a need to hear people that speak my language. I go to meetings, and, if you've ever been to anything like that, any kind of group of people who are trying to work on bettering themselves, but they come from all walks of life. And not everybody's there to better themselves either. There are people that have to be there for court and stuff. But you meet people that maybe anywhere else you couldn't see yourself necessarily being close to or having a conversation with. But being in these places where people need help, where people are looking for something, this is true of like going to mosque or church or some kind of religious community or a place of worship, spiritual place, oftentimes you'll find people who are looking for help. They're looking for some meaning in life. They're looking for connection. And I feel like we combat these places of heightened discrimination and separation and division by living a life where we do a lot of service. Not like it's just something that you do once a year, or you're like you have to do community service or something like that. No, this is a lifestyle. And when you can get into a lifestyle of being of service to others and learning to really, I think a lot of times people take offense to having to do menial jobs and work because they think they're better than that, or I've gone to school for 1,000,000 years and I have a master's degree. What do you mean I'm gonna volunteer in the kitchen and you are making me wash dishes? I don't. That's beneath me. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. In fact, the foundational works of our life are the most important in things like keeping things clean, hygiene. These are things that are really important because they help us not get sick, right? They're not below anybody. So the ego, right? The ego is the big thing for a lot of people. Also time and just not wanting to, do extra stuff. But when we get into a place where we are doing it everywhere, you don't just have to volunteer somewhere, but you are noticing people in your life. The receptionist at work, are you allowed to call them that now? What are we calling them? I don't know. 2025, what are we calling, what is it, administrative exec, I don't know. I don't know. I've never worked in an office, so you'll have to forgive me. I don't mean to be derogatory. I don't know if it's even derogatory. I'm so tired, you guys. I've cried in 2 of my readings today. If you really want to hear me lose it for a minute, go listen to my Capricorn reading. You can even go to the last third of it, and that's where I'm only laughing because I'm just so tired and so emotional today. But I feel like this is where you combat it, and I think that you are fully aware of this, because when you pull away from doing the interacting and the showing up for people and noticing like I was saying, somebody at work, right? They work up front, they make appointments, whatever. And, you're chit-chatting. Hey, how you doing? Da, 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 da. Oh, yeah, I'm just getting ready this weekend. I'm going to move. And, I'm falling behind. And I don't know, I don't know if, all the people who said they're going to show up are going to. And then you just, you show up for them. You might not know them that well. You might not have ever, seen each other outside of work or whatever. But you say, yeah, I'll help move you. And listen, I'm using moving as the example because if somebody will help you move, that is gang for life. Okay? I have had the closest friends, now they're not close, the closest friends of my life refuse to help move me. Now, this is when I was young. I'm cheap as heck. I don't spend, I try not to spend money on frivolous stuff, but I will save if it takes me a year of saving, $5 a week. I don't know, whatever. I will pay for a mover at this point, at least to unload the boxes or load them and unload them. I just can't. I've learned at this point in my life, I just can't, baby. I can't. But if somebody who helps you move, especially they're just like, they're not bitch. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I didn't say nothing. They're not complaining about it. Oh my gosh, where are we at? About 20 minutes. Okay, I'm going to write it down. I'm going to make sure. I have to check to see if we need to. I don't know what do you do if you say something you're not supposed to. Did I say it all the way? Did you hear me? Anyways, I'm going to remember 20 minutes about, yeah, so not complaining. They're not complaining about it at all. And that's a friend for life. So, I also see you as being a person who is willing to show up for people. You're willing to live in that place of service, and that makes you a good leader. It makes you a very worthy authority figure. Now, you're also very adaptable. Okay, so where you like to help, you're also like not going to get mad if it changes, right? If they need more help, if the help that you gave didn't really work out, or, whatever. You're very, you'll, instead of reacting immediately, you like to kind of back up and look at the larger picture. Okay, so that's a great quality. Now we have originality and achievement. And I want to get some more on that, because this feels like you have some kind of project coming up. So we have risk. We have practicality. So it maybe is, and I'm going to kind of move these ones over here. We're going to just move that stuff over this way. I feel like it could be like a financial risk, or maybe a risk in time, or maybe, you're just trying out different things. Like, for instance, for like us over here with our business, we try different kinds of content, seeing what we like making, if people like it or not, and that kind of thing. So there's some risk, but I think that you are definitely a practical thinker. You're not going to like go out here and blow like, your life savings on like a wild, idea that you had at 3 a.m. I don't see it like that. But I do feel like you are getting to the point where you really are ready to take that risk, to like start that business you wanted to, maybe you've been, learning to quilt, and you've gotten a couple of really nice little like baby quilts together, and you're finally like willing to like risk it all, and maybe start doing a little Etsy, or selling them at the farmer's market, or something like this. So I do feel like it's a practical risk. It's a risk that has practicality written all over it, right? Like you're not diving into the deep end. Okay, I feel like we have a lot of optimism. This is bringing you a lot of optimism, and I feel like it really is. And I pulled the drama card, so I'm not hiding it. I'm just holding it over here. So I think it really is like kind of the catalyst for this change is the optimism, the getting going on your projects. But also part of the fun of it is figuring out how you're going to do this thing within reason, right? Within like a cost-effective way, using materials or, whatever it is. That are accessible to you, like realistically. Okay, so I think that part is also fun for you, the planning. Now, there will be some dramas. Okay, I feel like this is going to be from a person in your life, but I want to look. We're going to keep pulling. We're going to see. Exhalation and endurance. Okay. I want to pick one more here. Choice. Okay, we're going to put that there. Choice, convention, and enterprise. And publicity. Okay. this is interesting. I feel like I'm the sour one in this situation. I definitely relate to this scenario a little bit. So it feels like you start getting going on your thing, whatever you're doing, and you're going to actually start to get like some publicity. Like you might become like, you know, like the hood's hero, right? The local celebrity. However, it could be like online, it could be that like you are really like on the next level, right? You're like statewide, nationwide, whatever. International, baby. I feel like what comes with this, a lot of, and this is where it kind of, I understand this a little bit, this feeling, from the side of the person watching this happen a little. Starting to get a lot of like positive feedback, and even maybe some fans, and just a lot of like being kind of elevated to people. And I feel like for maybe this person who is causing a little drama, this is all coming out of like nowhere, right? Now I'm saying I relate to this because kind of like, let me just do a backstory a little bit. My husband and I, when we met, we were just like, two nerds that like had, we were doing our work, and, and for me, I was super into like, doing my magic and all the things that I kind of do now, but, alone and kind of pretty poor, but I was still doing it. And I met my husband, kind of the same case for him. He had a regular job and whatever, doing okay. Nothing spectacular, but we were good. We were happy, just to like find each other and relate, and we fell in love and had a kid and all this stuff. So then, he starts a channel, and he's really good at tarot reading, and I haven't yet started doing tea leaf reading. And he started to get like followers, and even to this day, I mean, he's, there's lots of people that just adore him and love him. And there are also people who are super disrespectful and say really crazy stuff to not only him, but me, being attracted to him and fawning over him, and even to the level of like, I mean, legitimate, like maybe a stalker or two. But I never had wanted any of this. In fact, I have had relationships in the past with artists and musicians who were fairly well known that I didn't want to be with because I didn't want a public life. And that's been some really deep work for me, so I can understand that. On the other hand, and here's my little thing about it, is you have to empower yourself by doing your own work. You can't be worried about what somebody else is doing, or what, other people, how they are interacting with that work, or if you have fans that are in love with you or think they are, because they don't know you. They don't know my husband. My husband is a completely different person in real life. He is a character on a channel. I'm maybe a little less so, just because I'm not a professional like he is. Like, he's a really very intentionally put together person. You know what I mean? Like, and that's not to take away. His personality is there, and the warmth and the beauty of him, it's all there. That is who he is. But who I have in my life is a completely different person. And he's wonderful in my life as well. And I just, I know him in a different way. Same with me. He knows me in a different way than you know me. And so empowering yourself from doing your own work and realizing, like, people are going to do all kinds of weird stuff and say things that maybe they don't even mean. In the moment, they're like impassioned to do so. So I do feel like, if you have a person in your life that is feeling some type of way because they're seeing you, shine, and I don't think it's about jealousy. I mean, for me, it wasn't about jealousy of the work. The exposure, it made me feel unsafe to be suddenly exposed to all these people and for them to peer into, our life a little bit. And that's been hard. It's been very hard. I still struggle. But, sometimes it's kind of like you got to get your own thing going. You got to do, the only thing that's going to make you feel better is doing what is fulfilling to you. And that might be completely different things. It might be like my husband and I, where we do very similar things, I mean, tea leaf reading and tarot reading, very different. But we're interested in the same realm of stuff, right? So we're lucky in that. Doesn't always have to be the case, though. So I do feel like, for the person, it's really about a choice, right? And I do feel like they want for a more conventional life. And I do see how that little baby's walled off. That's what it feels like, right? You just wall yourself off from the universe and you just do it the way that feels comfortable. And listen, I love that feeling. I would live in isolation, do my own thing, never be witnessed by anybody. I would be so happy. Oh my gosh, I would be so happy. But, I'm also happy in these other ways. There's a lot of ways to live. So I feel like some compromise, right? A little bit of compromise. But at the same time, I think you've already made the choice to do what has been given to you, and also that you have created. You're creating this project, this creation, this artwork, this place for you to make money, to gather resources, to also be able to speak your mind, your voice, and that's no little thing. But we also have to consider, how does this affect other people? And sometimes we need to make little compromises. I think personally, I don't know, this is just me and how my brain works. I want to hear about all the stuff. Like, if I am afraid of something, if you explain it to me, if you sit down with me and you tell me this is what we're doing here and this is how this works, and it doesn't feel like such a big jumble, right? It can all just feel like this huge jumble of stuff that you're never going to be able to understand. But when you break it down into smaller pieces and you really get in there and show them, oh, this is how this works. And I feel like that kind of demystifying something really, really takes away some of the fear. So maybe if this is happening and you're getting some publicity, you're very enterprising, you have this endurance to just make it happen, right? Where that might be throwing a little bit of turmoil into your relationships and friendships, I think just, kind of bringing them in, letting them see what's going on, And here's the deal. Here's the other part of it. If you are building a company or a channel, or you're starting to write a book or something, it's a lot of work. It's time consuming. For the channel here, you see the readings and stuff, and might record anywhere from an hour a day to 5 or 6 hours a day. But that's only the small part of the work. The real work is in doing all the behind the scenes stuff, the editing and processing and uploading and keywords and description, all the things. It's a lot. And especially when you're beginning that, before you have all of your stuff set up, you have a system in place, and you're going to be busy. And that might also make people feel some type of way. So don't be afraid to ask them to help you And not just because you need help, but because it shows them what you have been doing. And you don't owe that to anybody. Let me be clear. You don't have to show anybody. But I personally think it smooths things over more, right? To understand something, to see it, to be a part of it, it makes you feel, I think, a little more confident in what's going on. That's just me personally. I'm going to go ahead and do some lucky numbers for you. Number 37. Number 23. And number 4. Oops, number 4. Now, I also feel, I don't know what's up with me today. I don't want to stop doing my readings. I need to. I gotta go make some food and stuff pretty soon here, but I just we're gonna use the Earthbound Oracle deck really quick. I kind of want to see on a practical level. We're not talking about like the big sweeping generalized stuff happening in life, but I want to see like really like what is coming up. I did my first like kind of medium reading the other day for somebody I know personally, and I really liked it. I really enjoyed doing it, and I'm hoping that I'll do some more mediumship. And I think I might throw up on I think I gotta talk to my husband. I don't know if my readings are for sale on his website, but I might add that to like the things I will, because I do personal tea leaf readings, but now I'm thinking maybe I'm gonna start doing some mediumship. I think I might need a little more practice, like communicating verbally, like what I'm experiencing in a way that's like more coherent for other people. But yeah, I really, really liked it. And I feel like we connected some really specific details that, I mean, it really, yes, I liked it. So we'll see. But I do want to ask Spirit about, it feels like there's something for you to find. Like it's calling out to you. And I kind of just want an idea of like what area of life and like physically, because it does feel like you're going to see something or receive something. So I kind of want to see if the Earthbound Oracle can kind of tell us, because it is that material, the Earthbound material energy. Okay. So we'll see. We have vision. Okay. The sun, perseverance, home, protect, fire. Okay, we're going to expand on fire. So, visions, very psychically active right now. You're having visions, dreams, all that stuff. Soul, revelation. Things are very clear, honest. Okay, there's a lot of honesty going around right now. Perseverance, we already know you're persevering with the best of them. Now, this is in the home realm. Okay, so domestic stuff. A sense of needing to protect yourself. Now, I want to see, is this a fire person? Is this literal fire? Is this, are you a fire person? I want to see. We're going to expand on that part. So we have wisdom, time. So we have an older person, probably masculine, somebody who is aligned with Saturn. We have both the black bird and time, which is Chronos, which is Saturn, wisdom. So taking your time with things. So I think it's maybe more we're dealing with a person or situation that is going fast. And when they're in their emotions, it just it overwhelms everything. Like if they're having a bad day, everybody's having a bad day. If they're angry, watch out. You know, that kind of person. We have wealth. Saturnine wealth. Then we have Earth. Okay. Impermanence. Okay, impermanence. Okay. So we have the Saturn person energy. It feels like an older person in your life, masculine, maybe a father figure. I feel like assisting possibly with money, okay? But here's the deal. If you allow for that help with this particular person who is both Saturnine but also has a raging temper problem, if you take the money, this is like a Faustian deal, right? Where the dude wants to do magic. He wants, I think it's supposed to be based off of John Dee or whatever. He wants to be the wizard of all wizards, right? He wants to be Big Poppy. And so he says, yo, dude, I'm going to, you take my whatever, my soul or whatever it is. I owe you. I forget what the original Faust story is. There's so many corruptions, but, soul for power. And when I die, you get me or whatever it is. And this is what it feels like. It's like a Faustian deal. If you want that money, if you want that security through this person in particular, it's going to be a permanent contract with them because they will not stop trying to dictate how you live. If they give you money, they feel like they have a place in your life to say something about how you're living. So that's a big decision. I'm going to be nosy and see. We have Luna, right? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think you're going for it. Deceit, yeah, no. Because it's an illusion, and you know it. You know it. And, yep, there we go. Deceit, illusion, life. So I feel like you're fully aware. You're fully aware. That didn't really help. I thought these cards for some reason had more of like actual, you're gonna find a stick and it's shaped like a heart and that kind of thing. I was looking for some of those details. I could do some, I don't know. I gotta figure it out, you guys. I'm enjoying doing these oracle readings, though. They're different. I like oracle cards. I was kind of like super snobby about using oracle cards when I started doing readings. I'm like, that seems like a cop-out a little bit. But you know what? No. Spirit loves them. I actually have like I have a big stack of, what are they called? Those note cards, like the ones, flashcard type of deals. And I made my own deck of just like random words and stuff, like sand and cupcakes and, total betrayal, and just, it's a big stack of them. And anyways, I like using those sometimes too. It was fun making them. So anyways, yeah, I think that's it. Thank you so much for being here. I know it was so heavy at the beginning, and it still feels like a heavy day. I'm not gonna lie to you. But we're gonna get through it. We're gonna figure this stuff out, all of us together. We are one, of course. We are the thing experiencing itself, after all. And, yeah, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. It's all right to sit and cry a little bit, though. It's okay to admit it feels like way too much sometimes, and completely nothing makes sense. But, we're here. I'm here. I'm here for you. I love you. Thank you for watching this reading. We're going to talk soon. Good night.